Welcome to the Weekly Social, folks. Everything Katy, Fulshear, Richmond, Texas. We're getting very close to Christmas. As you can see that we're all very festive today.
Thanks to Richard.
Yes.
Of course.
Actually, no, it was Priscilla.
Because I knew you were going to do this.
Yes.
I did.
I brought them too, so.
I know.
We have the lovely Maryam Zaidi today. Zaidi? I'm sorry.
Zaidi. No, you're good.
Yeah.
Priscilla Pfaff.
And Richard Luebeck.
Ah, yes. Thanks.
And Jake with State Farm.
And then we have the hardest working 10-year-old. Nope, I'm sorry. I had to say that.
No. So.
Maryam, tell us a little bit about yourself.
So my name is Maryam Zaidi. I was born and raised in Katy, so I am a
native.
I'm a native. Spent my whole life here. I went to even U of H. My background is actually in technology.
So you're a cougar.
I am a cougar. Go Cougs.
Mm-hmm. And where'd you go in Katy? Where'd you go to high school?
So I went to Tompkins High School.
Okay.
So yeah,
Awesome.
Katy ISD, Griffin Elementary, Seven Lakes High School, Tompkins High School. So
Awesome.
very much so a native.
Yes.
Then I went to U of H for Management Information Systems, which is a little bit of project management, a little bit of coding, so technology background, and I landed in sales with insurance with Goosehead Insurance.
Awesome.
And that's how I met Richard and Priscilla and Jake in the back.
Because you were at the networking events and stuff.
Yes, I was. So my first cold call was actually Richard. And
oh, this is awesome.
Yeah, so he was my very first cold call. I was so nervous. I did a lot of research on him, and I mentioned that he did a lot of really cool bike racing, and he's really into cars, and that's how I connected with him.
Oh, wow. That's cool. The first cold call.
Yeah.
Very first.
Isn't that crazy?
Oh, I love that. That's a good story.
Yeah.
It is.
That's a very good story.
And now I'm here.
So insurance. So why the insurance, and what do you like, and what's, just.
What attracted you to it?
Yeah.
So I always thought I would go into technology, be a project manager, be a consultant, things like that. I actually took a sales class in college, and I had to pretend to sell a medical device. That class, I was amazing. I mean, I fell in love with it, fell in love with the sales process, even though it was fake. It was awesome. And then I got a message from Goosehead on LinkedIn. They reached out. They loved my work on my resume and what I had done in school. So did my interviews, and now I'm here. And then insurance in and of itself, I've always been, it's very exciting. I've always been a very caring person. I love taking care of people. I love helping people in every way I can. So helping people get the right coverage for the best price, it's very rewarding.
Yes.
Acts of service. That's a trait with most salespeople. They're about pleasing and helping people. One of my primary focuses in sales, because that's predominantly what I do, is I want you to have the best possible service for the best possible outcome, but I also want to improve and give you more knowledge along the way as well. What's your thoughts on that?
So, of course, that's so important. A lot of people don't understand the basics of insurance. So I like to go through on the phone, if I'm going over a quote with a client, line by line, this is what your home insurance covers, this is what your auto insurance covers. If you're a renter, if someone has a rental property, I want to make sure that you understand everything in every single detail that you can. So I will spend an hour and a half on the phone with you, no matter what. I mean, every detail is important. It's your policy, your property, your coverage, your life.
And you don't know what you don't know.
Exactly.
Right. And the different things that we've been through in Houston, and and how people were affected from them, and to make sure that they understand what their coverage is and what they're being covered for, right?
You can figure out your policy before you buy it, or you can figure it out
After
you use it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Rather do that before.
Proactive.
Yeah, I think it's
So
good to
bravo
know.
to you.
Yeah, it's very rewarding when someone's like, I really appreciate your help, and if they go and they file a claim and they fully understand what their insurance can cover and they don't have to go through the mess, it's very rewarding.
Yeah.
Because I know a lot of people that have had issues with different carriers, their payments aren't being paid out just because they don't know.
Between the hurricanes, the freezes, the storms, there's been a plethora of different natural disasters or events. I don't really know how to.
Right.
to
Right. And that, I mean, the insurance companies have paid for all of that, and that's why our rates have gone up.
Yeah, definitely.
And, what do you think we're going to see in 2025?
So hopefully in 2025, fingers crossed, no freeze in January again. So hopefully 2025, we are hopefully seeing a lot more carriers opening back up in Texas. I know recently some have pulled out due to the plethora of claims for different reasons. A lot of counties and cities such as Dallas and Houston are very hard to cover at the moment just because the amount of claims, the amount of houses, things like that. So we're hoping carriers come back, premiums are going down. We are seeing a trend of them going down now.
Good.
So
What a blessing.
Yeah, definitely a blessing. So yeah, really hoping that it works out for everyone.
But it's such a critical thing. I mean, our insurance and you going through all the details, but you being with Goosehead, the advantages of that is tremendous because y'all aren't locked in with one company.
No, so that's correct.
Right?
So we are a brokerage, which means we have access to 40 to 50 different A-rated carriers, and I emphasize A-rated. We are backed by the Texas government. We're a national company. We're across the U.S., but Texas specifically, we are backed by the Texas Department of Insurance. And these companies will pay out claims. God forbid anything happens or things like that. That is our standard. Nothing below.
You don't have to worry about them going bankrupt.
Don't have to worry about them going bankrupt. And the occurrence that a company does, whatever bankrupt money, it will go to pay out claims.
Okay.
So very important. A lot of people aren't realizing that a lot of these companies are not A-rated. They just go for...
Well, and there's replacement policies, there's depreciating policies.
Right.
A lot of people, you can always take something, make it for less and charge less. That is so easy, but then you become lawful prey because it's a race to the bottom. In my experience, look at the policy and try to figure out what you can truly afford and what it truly covers. And the cheapest policy is typically not the best policy for you. Exactly. Even though you're looking at it from a monetary standpoint, but what's your exposure and liability? Because what insurance is in a nutshell is a transfer of risk.
Right.
And there's a huge value to that.
It is. I mean, you're putting your house, your cars, if people have life insurance, you're putting
you don't
your life
have
on the
medical
line.
insurance. I mean, you're taking a risk. You don't have homeowners insurance. You're taking a risk.
I've been through that selling properties.
Wow.
House needed a roof, had hail damage. It would have been filed and covered by the homeowner's insurance. However, they own the property outright and they dropped the homeowner's insurance.
Yeah, I've seen that. Yeah, and a lot of people don't know, special tip, roof age is very important. A lot of these Katy homes, Grand Lakes, for example, Cinco Ranch was built in the early 2000s. We're getting at that 15-year point for different homes. I promise if your insurance rates are going up, look into getting your roof replaced. It is a very, very important thing.
So it's a 15-year kind of...
Yes.
So you basically having to replace roofs every 15 years now so that because it depreciates every year, right, on your insurance policy on how old the roof is?
So it depends. So a lot of carriers will do what's called ACV, or actual cash value. That is when the roof depreciates based off age.
Okay.
I personally like to do replacement cost, and that
Right.
is your entire roof being replaced for the worth that is in the market today. So that's very important, but a lot of the roofs that are older than 15 years, that's when you get that ACV. Definitely want to replace those roofs, especially after all the storms we've had. I mean, think about it. We've had Ike, we've had the freeze, we've had a couple of hurricanes, the tornadoes this year.
Yeah.
It is very important.
Yeah.
I guess it's like a little tip.
That's good information. That is good information. So, we always used to replace roofs and say, okay, I want a 30-year shingle and all of that. But you really don't need a 30-year shingle anymore. You need a 15-year because you got to replace it in 15.
Yeah. So
I don't know. I thought about that the other day, and I was like, because of the insurance, you don't want the higher priced ones.
Yeah, so the higher price ones, even though they might cover for longer and they might last longer, in regards to your insurance policy, it's better to have the newer. Even if a home was built in 2000, if they have a 2023 roof, your insurance policy could be hundreds of dollars less. And it's a lot of savings. Annually, yeah.
Yeah.
I had a client recently, his renewal, he just gotten his roof replaced. His renewal went from $4,000 to a year to $9,900 the next year, and he had gotten his roof replaced, and I got his policy down to $5,000. So it was definitely something very massive, and he was very grateful.
Wow.
Yeah, I was surprised by the price that it went down.
That's huge.
Mm-hmm. Wow. So in 3-4 years, I don't know, kind of prices on roofs and what that's running better than I, but in 3 or 4 years, you basically make it up because of replacing the roof because of the what you saved in your cost of
You're
the
investing
insurance.
it back into your home versus handing it over to the insurance company.
Exactly.
Right. Very, very interesting. That is good tips.
Yeah, good tips.
The other thing I learned after Katrina and so many of the apartments were flooded, and you have insurance that kind of covers your contents, but if you're flooded, are you covered?
Yes. So even for rental properties, or sorry, if you are renting an apartment, you live in a home, you live in a rental property, things like that, within your policy, you have something called either personal property or personal contents, depending on the carrier, depending on the policy. Whatever amount that is the amount they'll cover. So, for example, if you have a homeowner's policy and your house is sitting at $800,000 for the dwelling limit, within that $800,000, you'll typically get about 50% of the $800,000, so $400,000. $400,000 personal property. That's your appliances, clothing, and furniture. So that's all you.
Non-structural though.
Non-structural. So
that's where flood policy comes into play.
Yes. So flood policies can come into play. Depends on the area that you're in Texas. Typically, we see it in more coastal. So, for example, Baytown is a very big place for flood policies, or League City, just outside of Houston.
Right.
And then that personal property, anything happens, your house is flooded, your house burns down, things like that, it is covered under your homeowner's policy.
Okay.
And your renters as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
Renters
so you don't have to have an additional policy for renters for flood damage.
For flood damage, flood can be a separate policy. But if your house is flooded, something happens, your homeowner's policy will cover your personal property.
Okay.
Personal but not structural.
Personal but not structural.
Okay. That's the difference.
Right.
Yes. So
thank you.
Yeah, that dwelling limit, that $800,000 is the structural part. So the dwelling limit on a home, if it's $800,000, that's any labor and materials to rebuild your home from ground up.
Okay.
And
that's
so,
rebuild, not rebuild cost, correct? Okay.
So you would have
Just
the rebuild cost of the $800,000, and then you would have a $400,000 for your content. Okay.
Yeah. So it's pretty great. A lot of people don't know that. That's why I like to go line by line. I mean, there's a lot of details that go into a policy, and a lot of people don't want to spend 45 minutes on the phone, but it's so important to spend those 45 minutes.
Well, talking about personal contents, when jewelry and watches come into play, how does that work out?
So a lot of homeowners policies do have a section where it's included for jewelry. Typically, it's about $1,000 to $1,500. There are separate policies, jewelry policies. We have jewelry carriers as well. So Goosehead does a bunch. We do home, auto. If you have a rental property, if you are a renter, jewelry, flood, wind. I mean, there's a lot.
There is.
Umbrella policies.
We do umbrella policies as well. So if you have a bunch of different, I just had a client, they had 3 different rental properties. They bought a $3 million umbrella policy to cover their rental properties and their liability as well. So it's a lot. There's a lot of different policies to get you fully covered.
You know, the new year's right around the corner. Everybody makes their resolutions and all the stuff that they're going to change, do, and march into next year. If you don't understand or have questions or contemplating what you have in your policy, I would advise you to reach out to Maryam and just
And
give her a
just have
shot.
her go
Yeah.
over it and let you know, even if it's not up for renewal yet or anything, just understand what you got, so that when it is up for renewal, you've got some time to kind of think about it, and then you know what you want. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah, because it's not a click and order business. A lot of people think that. You need a local person that understands the market, and understands your wants and needs. Clicking an order, I mean, yeah, you can do that. You might save a little money, but what did you truly save? Because everything that you save, you gave up something.
Exactly.
Oh, that's true.
There's always a risk when
Right.
it comes to insurance. I like to make sure, and I've offered this as well, whether I'm marketing myself, my business, even if you are in the best spot, I am more than happy to go over your policy with you so you understand, even if I don't work with that certain carrier, this is what this is for. This is what this is for. I think you should have a little bit more, talk to your company, talk to your personal agent about that. So it's definitely very important because people, for example, foundation. How expensive is it to fix your foundation if a pipe busts?
Ooh, a lot.
Yeah, it's very
Or
expensive.
raise your foundation like Maryland did.
Yeah, so it's very important, and I offer a free review as well. I mean, if you're in the best price, I will let you know right then and there. If I think I can get you something better, I'll go over it with you.
Right.
Yeah, so
Well,
I like to help people.
when it comes to foundation, a lot of people think, well, we can just fix that. The foundation company quoted us $5,000 or $10,000. Well, that's just the start. That's the foundation, because once you push all that back up to where it needs to go, or whatever, now you got to look at everything that's shifted since then, whether it's plumbing, walls, structure.
Ooh,
Yeah.
that's
So-
why you'd rather have a pier and beam than an actual
Slab.
slab.
I'm not a
I don't know.
construction guy.
Yeah,
But
but
when
I mean, it just makes sense in my head, you know.
But when I run into those, because you run into it buying and selling real estate, I always advise, if I represent the seller, that we get it addressed, or if I represent the buyer, that we get it addressed through the seller. That way, all those unknowns are taken care of through the seller.
And then
And
you've got protection because
You get a transferable warranty
Right.
once it's done. But if there is, say, a sewer pipe or whatever breaks while they're fixing it, at least that problem's addressed before it becomes your problem.
Exactly.
right, and on their homeowners,
You're mitigating
Right.
risk.
right.
And then if I represent the sellers, I advise them that, hey, we need to do this before we go to market.
So does that make a difference in the price point for the buyer for the insurance? So say there is some foundation issues and the seller gets that taken care of and stuff, but maybe a pipe breaks and they file a claim on the insurance. So would the buyer's insurance be higher because a claim's been filed on the property?
Yeah, so unfortunately, if you file a claim for foundation coverage with homeowners insurance, the specifics is if a pipe bursts within your foundation and your foundation's perfectly good, they have to obviously go in, dig up the foundation, and fix the pipe. Whatever's on your homeowners insurance, I personally recommend the maxed out coverage. Typically, it's $25,000. They have to go in, they'll give you the $25,000 to fix that perfectly good slab up to where it was. So yes, it would increase your insurance, but it is definitely worth it because I don't think someone wants to be paying $25,000 out of pocket
No.
to fix their
No.
slab.
No.
But the claim does follow the property. So if it's claimed with the seller, when the buyer takes it, it does follow them for a little bit of time. Is that correct?
It would be with, so for example, if person A is the homeowner, they filed a claim for the foundation, it would
Yes.
stick with person A.
Oh,
Oh,
so
it
when
stays-
person A moves to another house, they have the higher policy because of the claim.
It can happen. It
Okay.
depends on the
Not
carrier.
on the property.
It depends on the carrier, depends on the like how much the claim was, but from what I have seen,
Okay.
I've seen both scenarios where it's followed the person. I've seen the scenario where it's followed the property.
Okay. So it can go both ways.
It can go
Okay.
both
It's
ways.
case by case.
It is case by case.
Okay.
So depending on the carrier.
Yes, a lot of things are depending on carriers, underwriting. That's why we have a whole book of underwriting. I'm consistently on the phone with underwriters. Hey, this happened. Can you help me figure this out?
Right.
So, things like that. So we're always on the phone, always making sure that you are properly covered, and the underwriting will take it. And of course, this also goes into fact with inspection. Inspections can increase, decrease the premium depending on something like that. Inspections are very important when it comes to your homeowner's insurance.
Are you talking about the 60-day discovery inspection after they purchase the homeowner's insurance?
Yes. So after you purchase homeowner's insurance, one of our bigger carriers called Fischer does do inspections. And 9 times out of 10, the premium won't go up depending on what it is. If you have a very good agent and they do it properly, nothing will change.
Yeah.
But if, for example, a previous agent at a different brokerage forgot to add a bathroom, it will go up on your dwelling and it'll go up on the premium. So definitely important to make sure you have that inspection. It's good just for you as a homeowner as well, so you know your property's in good shape.
What, a lot of the information we use in real estate comes off of the tax scrolls or the appraisal district,
Right.
and it's imported in, and there's discrepancies there all the time, from square footage to, again, bathrooms. 2 fireplaces or no fireplaces. You walk in, there's a fireplace, but it says it has 2. So
Yeah. It is important. And we use the appraisal district. We use like HIR or Zillow, and then we're also on the phone with the client. Hey, how many rooms? How many bathrooms? How is your kitchen? Do you have a fireplace? Do you have a pool?
So it's not it's not an in-person inspection.
So the carrier will come out and have someone do an in-person inspection.
Okay.
But when I'm doing a discovery call with a client, I make sure to get all those details in as much accuracy as I can, just so.
So
they don't
y'all
have a
aren't
surprise.
caught off guard and have something happen and have to come back to them and say, oh, it's going to be more because I didn't know about this.
Yes.
Okay.
So yeah, we don't
Okay.
go based off like Zillow, HAR or something. It's always very important to have the client on the phone.
Speaking of that, what do you guys use to decipher the square footage of the home? Because I know you can send 3 people out there 3 different days in a row, and you're going to get 3 different measurements.
Oh,
Yeah.
100%.
So we do the best that we can.
Okay.
Obviously, as an insurance agent, I'm not there inside your home with a little
You're not
tape
a house
measure.
measure.
Right.
Yeah, I'm not, I don't have a tape measure.
Yeah.
So we'll check a couple different ways. Sometimes the carrier will pull back square footage, but if it's a completely new build, like it's not, like if you go out there, it's not even there.
Yeah.
If it's a completely new build, we'll have to ask, the
builder.
client. We can ask the builder, and if we can go off the builder and their model
plans,
homes,
yeah.
the plans. Yes, thank you. That's the best we can do. But typically older homes, their square footage is there. It's 9 times out of 10, it's the right thing.
Yeah. Even though there's a variable, they're typically very close. Every once in a while, I got an oddball. I had one that was 400 square feet off. That's odd. And somebody said, well, that's not a lot. And I'm like, the average bedroom's 10 by 10, so that's 4 bedrooms that are missing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
Or a 2-car garage.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a 20 by 20. That's 400 square feet. That would be a
Right.
2-car garage missing. So.
Interesting. But it happens.
Yeah.
It happens.
There's
We
always the
know.
element for human error in
We know.
everything that we do.
Exactly.
Right.
And that's why we have so many things, especially at Goosehead, which is really what I really like. We have a quality control to make sure that myself as an agent, I did everything to the best of my ability. They'll go and double check, and if something's wrong, something seems a little bit off,
Second
they'll
set
kick
of
it back.
eyes.
Yeah, they'll
Okay,
kick it
good.
back. They'll be like, hey, Maryam, are you sure? Looks like there's foundation coverage on the policy, but you didn't mark it on quality control. Go ahead and double check it, kick it back to me. So I have a double set of eyes, and then, of course, you have the inspection. So it's almost triple. You have 3 people looking at it, making sure that it's correct.
That's a peace of mind.
It is. Really is.
Because-
Because, I mean, we all miss things. We all forget to ask something, that would give us that answer sometimes. And so, but you're really providing the value
Yeah.
for the customers and letting them know what is going on and what this happens and that happens.
Yeah, of course. And that's why, obviously, it's also important to, for example, little things like a square footage issue or how many bedrooms, how many fireplaces. It's important to work closely with realtors and even loan officers to just have the eyes.
And quote the house before you go under contract is one of my advice with buyers.
Yeah.
Always.
Reach out to your insurance person. Give them the
Always.
address. Let them take a look at it. Let them pull the clue report. Because if it does transfer with the property, you need to know that, because there's no way for us to know that there was an insurance claim filed on it 1 or 2 years or 3 years.
That's
Yeah.
not on the seller's disclosure, is it?
It is, but let's say somebody bought it 2 years ago and it was on the previous seller's disclosure that it
Right.
was, and now they're selling it now and they're moving. That's where
And
that.
like you said, Miriam, that sometimes the insurance carriers look at that
Right.
against the property. Sometimes it goes with the seller. So those are
Right.
variables that you need to know.
But that seller, for the 2 years they lived in it, they didn't file an insurance claim, so they're telling the truth.
Right.
But yet there's a previous one from before when they bought it. They just don't remember because it wasn't them filing the claim. It's not that they're being deceptive.
That's why
they just
need
right.
people that are in this industry and know the ins and outs and
Yeah.
have that expertise with them to know and say, okay, well, this wasn't because of this. It was the previous, and
I've run into it.
right.
Knowledge is learning it. Wisdom's knowing when to release it to people. So,
Yes. So, Jake, do we have any questions?
yeah.
No, not so far so good. Jesus said hi.
Aww.
Yeah.
Yes, he was on a couple of weeks ago.
Oh, awesome.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Oh, he was awesome.
Yep. Absolutely. How about you? Do you have any questions for Miss Miriam?
So I guess car insurance, right? We were talking about that earlier a little bit. So I guess as long as a car passes a smog test, it has a horn, has an airbag, has blinkers, and all that hazard lights, then it is insurable, right? Is that's so like if
How's
let's say,
it going to
But
work
not
with
on the
not
racetrack,
having?
Jake.
No,
Right.
There's
he does
exclusions.
Like, yeah, he does
Yeah.
like
But
his
there is-
race cars.
There is track insurance, but that's separate. That's
Yeah.
that would be separate.
Yeah.
Okay. But like if you have like a car that has, I don't know how to explain this right because it's very complicated, and I guess it depends on the person driving it.
It does.
Yeah.
It depends on the person, what their past, if they made claims, if
risk
they have
profile.
tickets, their motor vehicle report. But I mean, classic cars are typically covered. Me and him were just talking. I have a friend who has a classic car. It's imported from Japan.
Okay.
So yeah, I mean, it's covered. It's like State Farm covers it. So it's definitely doable. Like I said, it really just depends on, obviously it has to be road legal, functioning. Can't have a non-functioning car.
But what's going to happen? I mean, isn't this the last year for car inspections?
I believe so. So we'll definitely see how that goes starting January.
I'm not a fan of that.
Yeah.
No.
I don't want to be driving down the road and
And the
some guy's got
exhaust.
bald tires behind me that
Yeah.
can't stop because he's got a car
Yeah.
that shouldn't be on the road to begin with.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Also,
That's my opinion.
So I'm assuming also depending on Houston's known for car wrecks a lot, right?
Get on any freeway, you'll find one. I
No,
promise
no.
you.
Yeah.
What I'm saying is, so like, if you let's say you live in a zip code that's heavily known for car wrecks to be happening there, would that be included onto your risk profile? Like
Yes.
If you live,
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So then your rate would be. So you guys look at that all the way
Yes.
down to those details, which is a good thing.
Yes.
Is it better when you bundle things?
Oh, definitely. Especially for your homeowners. I will do a talk track with a client. I'll be like, hey, look, I know we're going over your homeowners. We typically see the best deals, and a lot of carriers are actually requiring you to bundle. Our top ones do require bundle home and auto. You will see your best discounts when you bundle. And if it doesn't make financial sense, if I'm not winning on your car insurance, don't worry about it. We'll
Yeah.
figure out your
Sure.
home.
Right.
But yes, bundling is very important. It is where you see the best discounts and your best savings, possibly even best coverage.
Okay.
Awesome.
Yeah, that's what I've always thought, but I wasn't sure if it was still true.
Yes, it's definitely still true.
Because, when I got a home and did all that, my dad, State Farm, go to State Farm. And I always thought, well,
Jake with State Farm.
Yeah. Sorry. This is,
I'm sorry.
No, you're good. You're good.
So
No, it's Maryam with Goosehead.
Right. But it was like you need to go to State Farm and and then I always thought, well, if I had a claim and I've been in with them for 15 years, then I'm good because they'll pay my claim. I've been paying them for so long. It's not the case anymore.
Also, I have a question. So let's
Yes.
say, obviously newer cars are having all this technology, like Teslas, they're auto driving. Would that
I'm
be
sorry. I'm just thinking the auto driving and how would you even insure that?
well,
Tesla has their own insurance.
Oh, really?
Tesla has their own insurance, and we actually tell people with Teslas, if they have multiple Teslas, like, hey, you should probably check out Tesla insurance. But if they have Teslas, we'll definitely try. Obviously, if I can win coverage with you, go for it.
Yeah.
Also, does it depend on the car manufacturer? Like, because right now I think Subaru is like the safest car. It's either Subaru or Volvo.
Or Volvo, right? I think it's Subaru now.
But does that help with maybe having a lower insurance rate because you have a safe car with lots of safety features like lane assist and?
It can. I know for a while, I think it was Kia, if I'm not wrong, their insurance was a little bit more higher. And certain carriers, before I had started, they actually wouldn't insure Kias. I believe it's
really?
Kia. I could be wrong. I'm a car person, but not that deep. So it has, I guess, it was a thing before. As of right now, everything's pretty solid. Cars have been made a lot safer, but like you had said, Houston is horrible when it comes to drivers. Fun fact, 1 out of 4 people in Texas don't have car insurance.
Uninsured's huge.
Yes.
I have it on everything I own.
Yes, heavily emphasize having uninsured and underinsured. It covers you in case you get into a hit and run, if someone doesn't have insurance or not enough insurance. So definitely super important.
Because the minimum standards on state liability is nothing.
So if you have a loan, doesn't the loan company for your car require you to have a minimal amount of insurance?
So from what I've seen, if you have, for example, my car was financed, I had to have comprehensive and collision deductibles. And that's what a lot of lien holders are requiring. Those
not liability?
They do require liability is required state-wise. So for Texas, liability is 30-60-30. Goosehead standard, I can't go below 50-150 because at this point, the price of cars, the cost of accidents, a lot of the times it's 30-60-30 is not enough anymore.
Okay, so you're going 50, 100.
50.
So, okay, explain that.
So the liability is, this is when you are at fault. So the 50 is bodily injury per person, 100's per accident, and then the other 50's per occurrence. That's if you're at fault. And then for the uninsured and underinsured, it's the same thing, but that's if someone else is at fault. But like I said, hit and run, person doesn't have insurance or they don't have enough. So that is very important. And those numbers, just keep it in your head. 50, 150 is very important. Because, the average car now is more than 30,000.
It's 40, 50 grand.
Yeah.
It is. It's hard to find a car 25 and under. It is.
Yeah. And so that's definitely a talking point when I'm talking with clients. Like, hey, you have a brand new Toyota. Are you sure it's worth $30,000 or is it worth a little bit more?
Right.
And I have a 2021 RAV4. It was $40,000 back then.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's a little bit more. And it's just
and it's gone up since then.
It has gone up. So it's very important to make sure that you are at the right price for your car, for your needs, and where you live.
Wow, that's huge.
You
have really shared some good stuff.
Yeah. One more question.
No, you're good.
Okay, Jake, we'll let you have one more. One more.
What's the difference? So an electric car and a gas car, or even a diesel car, which is it more riskier to insure an electric car than it would be a gas car, or is it about the same?
From what I've seen, there hasn't been that much of a difference. Obviously, the cost of the car does play into it. But like I said, if it's a Tesla and they're electric, I have covered Teslas and I have had Teslas with Tesla insurance. It just depends, again, carrier, your insurance score. An insurance score, for those who don't know, similar to a credit score, but I promise when we run it, it does not affect your credit score.
I didn't know.
Yeah, it is a thing. It's it's when it's kind of like your loyalty to insurance. Make sure you haven't had any lapses, making sure that you've made all your payments and things like that. So the lower the score, the better, depending on the carrier.
So not the higher like we do on a credit score.
Yes.
It's the lower.
Yes.
Okay.
Typically we see it to like 1 to 10, depending on the carrier.
Insurance score.
Score. So the higher liability you have, so for car insurance or your homeowners, renters, things like that, the higher liability you have, the better insurance score you're going to have.
I maximize all my liabilities.
Good. You probably
That's
have a 1.
interesting. Okay, didn't know that.
Well,
That's
but
cool.
it's easy.
Yeah.
I mean,
I'm insurance poor.
yes, but it's
Yes.
a transfer of risk.
Correct.
If I ever
But I'm
use it, that's why I
Insurance
paid
poor.
for it.
Right.
Yeah.
So,
Mm-hmm.
if they want to reach out and connect with you
Yes.
to explore what they have or making moves, what's the best way for all of our viewers out there?
So there's a couple different ways. Of course, my Facebook will be tagged on here. I have my Instagram, which I think also will be tagged.
Mm-hmm.
My Instagram, my work phone number, I'll give it to Jake as well if he wants to put it in the comments. It's 281-836-0644. And then my email, I will also put it in the comments. My name's a little bit complicated, but it's Maryam.
I know I screwed that up. I'm so sorry, Maryam.
Sorry. It's Maryam.Zaidi@Goosehead.com. Plenty of different ways that you are more than welcome to reach out to me, and I'd be happy to look over a free quote. If you're a realtor or loan officer watching, you have clients that might be about to go under contract, I would be more than happy to go over that with you as well. So clients, realtors, loan officers, things like that, more than happy to help.
She's bringing value.
Yes.
Yeah.
She is bringing value. So
What was
bravo.
that number again?
281-836-0644.
On a final note, we are winding down our annual charity drive, which we've been pushing this for the last month. This is for CAP's Animal Shelter, as
We're
well as...
getting lots of things in, but we need lots more.
Yes, we do.
Yes.
Thank you, everybody, for supporting our cause. Also goes to Boys and Girls Country, which they've been on earlier this year.
Oh, they're amazing.
So,
Yes. So
We are going to put the links in this week, so because I know that we have the QR codes to scan, but if you're watching it on your phone...
that you don't have to go buy it. You can scan that and just purchase it, have it delivered here, and ready to go.
Yeah, their list is uploaded into Amazon. You can click and order. It gets drop shipped right here. Priscilla, and everyone, we're all going to get together, make sure it goes to the kids and goes to the animal shelter.
Okay, this year you still have to guarantee that I'm not walking out of CAPS with a puppy.
I don't know if I can do that.
You should get a puppy.
No. I so wanted one last
You
year.
should.
There was so many. Oh, I love them.
Oh, we brought
But-
so much food to them last year.
Oh, I think we had 3 carloads of
It was
stuff.
huge. It was
Because we
huge.
had to do 2 separate trips for each charity.
Yes.
Yes, I remember.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So,
So,
yeah. I mean, Katy is...
Katie's wonderful. I mean,
Yeah.
this is home for
Yes.
sure. My entire family's here. We've been here for 2 generations, so
oh, wow.
Katie's definitely home.
Definitely. Definitely. So,
Thanks for supporting us. If you would,
Thank you
please
for coming.
like.
Of course. Thank you for
Thank
the
you, thank you.
invite.
Yep. Please like, subscribe, and share out. And we'll see you guys next week. Merry Christmas, guys.
Merry
Bye, guys.
Christmas.